Live from Crystal Pick Studios in Fairport, New York, it's another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Tim with your hosts Mark Blood and Tim Mason.
Mark, I know that you and I agree that it's critically important, based upon the good fortune that we and many local business professionals have enjoyed, to give back to our local not-for-profit organizations.
Today we have a special not-for-profit segment. We have with us today Lori Van Auken, who's the Executive Director of Catholic Charities Community Services. This is an organization that is near and dear to Tim's heart because he's the board chair. So he has a lot of interest in this organization and is really invested in. So we'll give Lori an opportunity to talk a little bit about what Catholic Charities does in the community.
Yeah, one of the great things about Catholic Charities is we serve so many people, Lori. So why don't you let them know exactly what we do.
Okay. Well, first, thank you both for having me here today. I'm really glad to be on the show and really feel very privileged to be able to talk about the great work that we do. I want to set the context for you, though, because there are Catholic charities. Most people know that there are Catholic charity agencies all over the United States and even internationally. And so we do have a very, very big footprint when it comes to serving the poor and vulnerable, which is something that we all have in common. In the Rochester Diocese, Catholic Charities, there are 9 different Catholic charity agencies serving as one big unit, and we each do different areas of work. So for Catholic Charities Community Services, we are really, really privileged to work with some very special populations of folks. And they are people who are living with intellectual developmental disabilities, people who are living with HIV and AIDS and chronic illnesses, and then lastly, folks who have sustained traumatic brain injuries. And so these are very, very difficult circumstances. Many of our clients are folks who are not wealthy, that have economic challenges on top of living with different, various challenges and abilities.
So how do those people get introduced to the services that Catholic Charities provide?
Yeah, so we get people from all referral sources. Some are self-referrals. They find us in the phone book. They've heard of Catholic Charities. They know that our mission is to really serve the poor and the vulnerable. We get referrals from other not-for-profit agencies often. We also get referrals from churches and often our own outreach efforts when we're in the community.
Mark, I think one of the amazing things is that Catholic Charities actually serves 12 counties across the Diocese of Rochester. So why don't you talk a little bit about your geographies, Lori, because that's impressive.
Yeah, it is a really big footprint. So we do serve from the lake to the Pennsylvania border, and 12 counties, as Tim said, and about 3,000 individuals through community services each year.
So are those people being served in like outreach centers in those areas, or are many of the services centralized into Monroe County?
Yeah, no, great question. Actually, we have 2 offices. One is in the Penn Yan area. We have about 25 staff down there that do all kinds of outreach and case management kind of work. In the Rochester area, our main office is on J Street. We're co-located actually with several other nonprofits, which is very handy and great for networking for sure, and great for our clients. We have about 100 staff located in that area. Then we have 13 different residential homes. These are for folks who are living with developmental disabilities. And they are spattered throughout the 12-county area, mostly in Monroe County, but we also have some in Wayne County, some in Yates County, some in Ontario County.
Lori, are there any programs that stand out as being those that you would look at as being most successful that Catholic Charities Community Services put together? I mean, I've been privileged to know about some, trying to get people to financial independence, and I know there's some really amazing programs and work that your team is doing.
Thanks. One of our fastest growing programs actually is the self-directed program. So for folks with developmental disabilities, nowadays the state is really encouraging as part of the Medicaid transformation that individuals take ownership of and direct the services they need to achieve the goals that they want to achieve. And so we went from, oh my goodness, maybe 5 individuals to now over 135 within a 12-month period of people who want to self-direct their services. And so that means they get a person who's a broker who helps them budget the allocation they get from the state in terms of Medicaid dollars. And then we pair them with a fiscal intermediary, and that person helps them actually execute the budget plan and connects them to different services that they need. And that can really go anywhere from somebody who will work with them in the community to learn how to use the library, to learn how to ride the bus, to learn, explore work opportunities. So it really depends. It's very, very person-centered. And even throughout our entire agency, we have core services, but they are highly individualized to meet the needs that people have, with the goal of being independent.
So this sounds like it costs some money. And the accountant in me always wants to ask the question of how you balance the budget. You have events, you have donors, you have funding sources. What's your challenge in that area?
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges. We receive a great deal of public support, which is wonderful, from the state. Lots of regulations come with that, and there are a lot of systems changes across the state which dictate how we do our programming, and often those resources are not adequate enough to really do the work the way we want to do it to meet the needs of individuals. So we try very, very hard in doing fundraising events and drawing on the generosity of the Rochester community and surrounding counties of donors who care about the work we do and feel that they want to put their philanthropic dollars in an organization that is going to be a good steward of those dollars. So it's really fundraising. It's private foundation money where it's applicable, and then state Medicaid money and other sources.
Lori, categorically, what are the types of events that your fundraising events and things? I mean, I know you guys do a lot, but maybe you can just kind of tell us overall what things that maybe people in our listening group would want to get involved with.
Right. So you can't see my face. My face just lit up, though, because I love to talk about the different events that we have at Community Services, because they're really geared toward fun and education. So our year is a busy one. If we start off in March with our signature event, which is called Breakfast with Friends. And we like to showcase the different work that we do, our kind of profile our year, how our year has gone. We have community awards that we give out. So put that on your calendar. It's breakfast March 3rd at the Hyatt at 7:30, and coming up in 2018. Tickets are reasonable, so we really want everybody to come and learn more about us and ways that they can get involved.
And it literally is a friend-raising event as much as it is a fundraising event.
For sure.
So Tim, let me ask you one question, Tim. I mean, you've obviously had a long connection with Catholic Charities. What do you get back out of it? What's your hook, and how do you feel as though it really ties into your life?
Well, as you know, Mark, I've been involved in a lot of business organizations over the course of my career, but I think my labor of love these days is being part of Catholic Charities Community Services. And I have a developmentally disabled sister, so I grew up. She went to Holy Childhood. She participates as part of ARC, but that's a core audience that is served by Catholic Charities Community Services. So it's wonderful that I can give back to an organization and help lead an organization that cares and provides services to those people. At the same time, it is associated with the Catholic faith, and I take my faith very seriously. So what I get out of it is the ability to, I'll say, salute my sister. My father was very involved with the diocese as well, so I have that bent. And it kind of is just the perfect storm of all the different things that I personally care about in my life.
I think that's fantastic, because you have the perfect example of of somebody who gives a lot to the business community, who gives a lot to the community overall by their charitable activities.
We're really fortunate to have Tim involved. And I'm finding that our board of directors are folks that want to be involved, but they really roll up their sleeves also, whether it's through, sharing expertise or charitable contributions, or really leveraging other supporters and really serving as ambassadors for the work we do.
Lori, any success stories you want to point out? I know there's so many, but is there one or two that you can point to that say this is really the epitome of what Catholic Charities Community Services does?
You're right. There are so many, but I think my absolute favorite is a story of Michelle. And she's spoken at our events before too. But here's a woman who was unfortunately raped and contracted HIV. Because of that situation, literally was on her deathbed at one point, and our care manager was right by her side, really holding her hand and saying, "You can do this. We're here for you." And she did it. She was able to get herself well. Fortunately, HIV is no longer the death sentence that it once was, and there is treatment and there is help, and we made sure she got it. She finished her associate's degree when she was well enough. She then went on for her bachelor's because she wanted to be a counselor, a care manager, like the care managers at Catholic Charities, and give back in that way. And today, she is pursuing her master's in public administration and continues to be a wonderful partner through her work now on different grants to help end the epidemic.
Lori, how can people learn more about Catholic Charities Community Services if they want to either volunteer or donate or just learn about the services that you offer?
Sure. So we have a fantastic website. I encourage you to visit it. It is www.cccsrochester.org. So that's 3 C's and S, rochester.org. Or you certainly can call the office at 339-9800 and ask for our development office, and we can connect you and help answer questions. We'd love to hear from you.
Boy, that sounds like a success story, doesn't it? Wow.
Sure does. Thanks so much, Lori, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
From Mark Blood and Tim Mason, thanks for listening to this edition of Blood, Sweat, and Tim. We hope you'll keep putting your blood, sweat, and tears into your business, and that you'll join us for our next BST podcast.